Hello and welcome back to Nathan Bell's podcast. Be sure to like, subscribe and share with your friends. Today, Nate would like to talk about genetic modification.
Yeah, well, I've thought a lot about genetic modification. My view when I was young was very much that we shouldn't alter nature and that we shouldn't change anything, and that genetic modification was like the devil's work and one of the worst things that we could possibly do. My view was that if we start modifying food and we start modifying human DNA, that we're going to make mistakes and we're going to create this warped species. I also had the view that modified food was bad for you and would make you sick. What I've come to realise as I've looked into it more is that those are unfounded views. A lot of science and a lot of research goes into the processes for genetically modifying food, for example. So there isn't anything necessarily bad about a genetically modified apple or a genetically modified orange or banana. Actually, it can be better, it can be superior. And what I've realised is it comes down to knowing what you're doing and doing things perfectly without mistake. Because I've come to see that we can enhance things. It's become my view that technology allows us to enhance aspects of nature so that those aspects of nature work better. And as long as the scientists creating the technology and developing the science know what they're doing, and they have their information correct and their data correct, and they know how to modify food correctly, then actually the food will turn out better, and there is the potential to modify food so that it has more nutritional value, so that it lasts longer, so that it doesn't degrade, so that crops don't fail. And all these things, they're only positive things. They're not bad things. If we can create crops that don't fail and that grow all year round, well, fantastic. Why wouldn't you want crops that grow all year round and don't fail if the weather is bad, What if we can create crops that don't die during drought? Then that means if there's a major drought, we can still have an abundance of food supply. That's only a good thing. So I've come to see it the other way around now, and I've come to realise, we want some modification which is done correctly, with proper good science that works, without any room for error. We want those genetic modifications. We want the food that doesn't die, that the crops don't die during drought. That's only a good thing. It's only good. We can grow food all year round, regardless of the season, and the food will grow because it's genetically modified. How is that a bad thing? I've come to see it as a good thing. And if we can create food, fruit and vegetables that are more nourishing and have more nutritional value, what's wrong with that? What exactly is wrong with that? To create a banana that has more nutritional value than a non-modified banana. The idea that because something is genetically modified, that eating it will turn you into some sort of mutant, or will mutate your genes, or will cause you to grow a third arm or something, that's just rubbish. That's not scientific. That's just fear-mongering. That's not what happens. Eating genetically modified food won't cause you to grow a third arm, or become some mutant. It doesn't work that way. The reality is that we can enhance food so that it is better for us, and so it has more nutritional value, and as I said, so that crops don't die in drought, so that we can grow food all year round. And this is my idea that I've come to, that we should be masters of the environment. And I've spoke about this in other videos, in my video on weather engineering. If an enhanced species thousands of years ahead of us, a super advanced species who had would have mastered their environment so that they can control the weather and so that they can modify anything and make everything better and superior. So you've got to think thousands of years in the future and what a super advanced species would be like. They would be able to do these things. So we need to be masters of the environment, and one aspect of that is to be able to modify our crops so that they can grow all year round, and then we start to come in and we can actually alter how the environment works. But first we have to have a complete understanding of the ecosystem so that we don't make any mistakes, so that we don't stuff anything up. And once we have a complete understanding of the ecosystem, we can start to alter the environment and alter things to our liking so that they are superior to how nature created them. And genetic modification fits into this. And with regards to people, I used to be very fearful of genetically modifying people as well. Now I'm very pro genetically modifying people because I realise with genetic engineering and gene editing, which is going to come this century, we're going to be able to edit people's genes so that it's impossible for them to develop cancer. We're going to be able to edit people's genes so that it's impossible for them to catch AIDS or hepatitis or any of these conditions. We're going to be able to genetically engineer people so they won't go blind, so they can't go blind. It's this fantastic technology that allows us to eliminate all of this illness. So actually I've come around to see genetic engineering as this fantastic technology which has the potential to end all illness and all illness in humanity. What I don't like about genetic engineering and gene editing is when, personally, as someone with schizophrenia, I don't like the idea of gene editing people so they don't have schizophrenia, but that's because I view that our society's view of schizophrenia is biased, and I actually view that I have the ability as a schizophrenic to access altered states of consciousness through hallucinations. So this is the thing about genetic engineering people. When we start genetic engineering people, we're going to come in and we're going to start saying someone is going to determine these are the characteristics which we want for humanity, and we're going to genetically edit out all the other characteristics which are viewed as undesirable. And so what's going to happen through gene editing is someone who is in charge of this decision process will say these list of characteristics are the desirable characteristics for the perfect human being, and everything else is an illness or a disability and should be edited out of the gene pool. And then we're going to end up with this one superior species, and there'll be these, it'll be very Aryan, it'll be these perfect muscle, perfect fitness, perfect physique, perfect genes that can't get cancer, that can't get AIDS, that can't go blind, that never get the flu, never get the cold, never get sick at all, and don't age, and that will eliminate aging through genetic engineering, and people won't age anymore. They'll still be able to die, but they won't age. So there'll be this perfect superior species of human beings, and that's where it's going to go in thousands of years. Again, as I've said before, like the engineers from Prometheus who live for hundreds of thousands of years and don't age and can't catch illness and stuff. So we have to be careful when someone is given the authority to make the decision that these are the desirable traits that should be kept in the species, and gets to make a list, that person gets to make a list of all the undesirable traits that we want to get rid of, because people are biased, and it will lead to a discrimination where entire types of people and personality types and groups of people will be eliminated through gene editing out of the gene pool, and I don't support that because I believe in diversity in the gene pool. So it's all this very, gene editing leans towards this very Nazi sort of future where it's these super Aryan superior species who've been gene edited so that they're absolutely physically perfect and they can't die and they don't age and they never get the flu, and one could speculate that most species that are intelligent and capable of developing this technology will inevitably evolve to this point where they become this master race, this master species through gene editing. Now, the question is, do you think that's a good thing or not? A species that can't catch AIDS, well, that's fantastic. Give me the needle that means that I'll never get cancer. Give me the gene editing procedure that says that I will never get cancer. Fantastic. Give me the needle that means that I don't age and I live for hundreds of thousands of years. I want it. Give it to me now. So the question is, what are the desirable traits that we want to keep, and what are the traits that we want to get rid of? Such as catching the flu and getting cancer and going blind for various reasons. Those are things we do want to eliminate if we can, so people can live a better quality of life. But there are other things which I would say are subjective, which some people would say we should get rid of, like mental illness. And bipolar, for example, which I would say we should keep bipolar and schizophrenia, and doctors and psychiatrists and experts would say, well, that's something that should be gene edited out of the gene pool. And I disagree, and I say that is a subjective view. And I call them Nazis because they would say that is a condition to be eliminated because they talk about curing mental illness. Well, my view is I don't need to be cured. I have a gift. Bipolar is a gift. Schizophrenia is a gift. I don't need to be cured, so don't come at me with your gene editing trying to cure me. I don't want to be cured by you. You're a Nazi. So yeah, gene editing and genetic engineering and gene manipulation, very contentious subject, very controversial. There's some of my thoughts on the subject and what I think about it. Drop a comment in the comment section what you think about gene manipulation.